They told you pain was the enemy. They told you suffering was something to escape, avoid, or numb, but they lied. Pain is the birthplace of power. Suffering is the soil where strength is sown, and every soul that ever rose from the ashes wore scars like medals, not wounds, because they knew something the world forgot. You are not defined by what breaks you. You are forged by how you rise. Look around you. The strongest among us are not those untouched by hardship. They are the ones who've bled, crawled, screamed in silence, and still stood up, still walked forward, still believed when belief felt like a lie. Edison failed over 10,000 times. Lincoln lost 8 elections before becoming president. Disney was told he lacked imagination. Do you think they didn't suffer? Do you think they didn't hear the mocking voices, the whispers of doubt in the darkness? No. They just refused to surrender to them. They converted agony into fuel. They transmuted rejection into resolve. And that is your birthright too, because pain is not punishment. It is invitation. An invitation to meet the parts of yourself you haven't yet met, the warrior within, the alchemist, the builder. It cracks open the shell of comfort, of illusion, of fragile ego, to reveal the indestructible core of who you really are, but only if you answer it. Most people numb it. They reach for distractions, comforts, cheap dopamine, borrowed validation. They run, but no one ever outran pain. It waits, it stalks. And the longer you run, the deeper it sinks its claws. But you are not most people. You're here, listening, hungry, not for comfort, but for clarity, not for easy answers, but for real strength. And that means you're ready to stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to make of me? Every pain is a sculptor, chisel in hand, stripping away your weaknesses. Every setback is a test, not of your fate, but your fire. You were never meant to live untouched, unscarred, untested. You were meant to be shaped like steel in flame. You were meant to feel the sting and still rise. So let's talk about mindset. The battlefield of life isn't out there. It's in here, in the private theater of your mind, where stories are written before actions are taken, where belief shapes biology and thought becomes fate. You can't control every storm, but you can command the meaning of the storm. You can't silence every critic, but you can choose which voice you believe. Your mind is either your weapon or your cage, and if you do not master it, it will master you. Do you know what separates those who rise from those who remain broken? It's not luck, not privilege, not timing. It's what they choose to believe when everything falls apart. It's what they whisper to themselves in the darkness. I am not done. I am not defeated. There is something in me this pain cannot touch. You must become the guardian of your inner world. Let no lie take root. Let no fear take throne. You are the architect of your interpretation, and interpretation is destiny. You must believe not when it's easy, not when it's fashionable, but when belief is the only thing you have left. That's when it matters. That's when it begins to rewrite your future. Clarity is next. Because if pain is to be transformed, it must be understood. Most people live in reaction. They feel pain and they flinch. They hurt and they shut down. But you must look deeper. What is this pain asking you to face? What part of your life is calling for reinvention? What truth have you been avoiding? Clarity turns suffering into signal. It helps you stop reacting blindly and start responding wisely. Without clarity, pain feels like chaos. But with clarity, pain becomes compass. Ask yourself, what pattern is repeating? What decision brought me here? What lesson is refusing to be ignored? It's not about blame. It's about vision. You were not made to wander in fog. You were made to rise in purpose. And purpose begins with understanding what this moment, this hardship is trying to awaken in you. Because once you know what must change, you become dangerous. You are no longer drifting. You are designing. No longer surviving, you are sculpting your strength. And that leads us to vision. No one rises from pain without a vision worth rising for. And that leads us to vision. No one rises from pain without a vision worth rising for. Vision is the lighthouse that cuts through the fog of suffering. When you're broken, bleeding, and crawling through the valley, vision whispers, there's more ahead. Keep moving. It doesn't erase the hurt. It gives it direction. Without vision, pain becomes paralysis. With vision, pain becomes propulsion. I think of every titan of history who transformed agony into legacy. They all saw something beyond their current hell. Nelson Mandela saw a free South Africa while locked in a concrete cell for 27 years. Helen Keller, deaf and blind, saw a world she could shape with her words. Martin Luther King Jr. saw a mountaintop while bullets and hatred surrounded him. They didn't just endure suffering, they aimed it, like a sharpened arrow. They aimed their pain toward purpose. What is your vision? Not a goal, not a wish list. A vision, something bigger than your excuses, something worthy of your struggle, something that makes the suffering sacred. Because when your vision is clear, your suffering becomes strategy. You stop asking how to escape it and start asking how to use it. Every scar becomes a stepping stone, every breakdown a blueprint, and soon you're not just surviving, you're building. Not just aching, you're ascending. But vision without purpose is a ghost. That's why purpose must follow. Not comfort, not praise. Purpose. Purpose is the reason behind the reason. It's the fire that stays lit when motivation burns out. It's what makes your suffering not just bearable, but necessary. Necessary because it refines you. Necessary because the version of you that can fulfill your calling must be built in fire. You see, your life is not an accident. That pain you're holding, it's part of your assignment. The betrayal, the failure, the heartbreak, they aren't detours. They are initiation. You were never meant to live a numb, safe, easy existence. You were meant to be stretched, challenged, broken open, because the version of you who fulfills your purpose cannot be born through ease. It takes discipline. And this is where most give up. They feel the pain. They find the vision. But when it's time to commit, to show up day after day without applause or reward, they falter. But not you, because discipline is the edge where pain becomes transformation. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the builders. It's the daily, brutal, beautiful grind of choosing your future over your feelings. You don't become powerful by waiting to feel ready. You become powerful by showing up broken and building anyway, by dragging yourself to the mat, to the mirror, to the mission. Even when the world isn't watching. That's what Edison did. Do you think he woke up with enthusiasm every morning after thousands of failed experiments? No, he had discipline. And that discipline turned darkness into light, literally. Discipline is love in action, love for who you're becoming. Because when you love something deeply, you don't ask if it's hard. You ask if it's worth it. And if your future is worth it, then no pain is too great, no night too long, no storm too violent. But discipline without action is self-deception. So act, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, now. Action is how you declare to the universe, I'm not waiting to be rescued. I am my own revolution. Every time you act in the direction of your future, especially while in pain, you reclaim your power, you rewire your identity. You stop being a victim of your story and start being its author. Action doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be persistent. Start where you are, with what you have. Even if all you have is rage and breath, use it. The small step taken in agony is worth more than the giant leap taken in comfort, because that small step says, I am not done. I will not break. This pain is my teacher, not my tombstone. And when the pain swells again, as it will, return to gratitude. Not the surface kind. Not thank you for the sunshine and smiles. I mean the raw, defiant kind. Gratitude that roars through clenched teeth. Thank you for this fire because it's forging me. You thank the storm, not because you enjoy the chaos, but because you know the roots grow deeper when the winds howl. You thank the rejection because it redirected you. You thank the betrayal because it revealed who you truly are. Gratitude is power. It disarms fear. It rewrites your story while you're still inside it. Even now, right here, say it. Thank you for the pain, because it's showing me my power. Thank you for the suffering, because it's awakening my strength. But gratitude alone will not carry you. You must learn to bend without breaking. You must become adaptable, not just flexible, but formless, like water. Water doesn't resist the shape of the vessel. It becomes it. It doesn't run from obstacles. It wears them down, stone by stone, inch by inch. This is how you must face your trials. Adaptability is not weakness. It is strength in motion. It is the warrior's art of evolving mid-battle. You don't get to control the battlefield, but you do control how you move through it. When life throws fire, some get burned. You become fireproof. When the wind changes direction, most drift.
Bow.
You adjust your sails. When everything collapses, you build again. Not because you're made of stone, but because you've become fluid. And if you adapt long enough, something else begins to rise inside you. Resilience. Resilience is not about ignoring the pain.
Bow.
It's about standing in the middle of it, knees shaking, fists clenched, heart wide open, and refusing to bow. Resilience says, I've been broken before, but I built back. I've been left behind, but I kept walking. I've been told I wasn't enough, but I've become more than they ever imagined. You don't need applause. You don't need understanding. You don't even need perfect conditions.
Bow.
You just need the unshakable truth that you've made it this far, and if you can make it here, bloodied and bruised, then there is nothing left that can conquer you. Not the silence, not the setbacks, not the fear, because now you know what you're made of. You know the darkness can't swallow you, because you are the light, and that light gets brighter with every lesson you take from your struggle. That's the final piece, learning. Pain that doesn't teach becomes poison, but pain that teaches becomes power. What did you learn from the betrayal, from the loneliness, from the failure? Did you learn how strong you are, how clear your values are, how deep your hunger is? Did you learn who's truly with you and who never was? Every scar contains a message. Every tear holds a truth. Every loss carries a lesson too expensive to ignore.
Bow.
You were never meant to stay the same. That version of you from yesterday. Let it die. Let it burn. Let it be buried with the excuses and limitations that once held you. You're not here to repeat your past. You're here to rewrite it. And when you take every wound, every weight, every whisper of doubt, and transmute it into wisdom, that's when your suffering becomes sacred. That's when you stop chasing transformation and start embodying it. So rise, not because the pain is gone, but because it's no longer in control. Rise, not like a phoenix who burns once and soars, but like a storm that remembers every drop of rain and still chooses to roar.
Bow.
You are not broken. You are forged. You are not behind. You are becoming. This pain you carry, it is not your prison. It is your path. It's not there to punish you. It's there to prepare you, because some destinies are too great to be delivered in comfort. They must be earned in fire, and you are earning it. So keep going, with fire in your eyes, with thunder in your chest, with a soul that has tasted hell and chose heaven anyway. Turn your pain into power. Turn your suffering into strength. And when they ask how you did it, tell them the truth. I stopped waiting for rescue and became the storm. Now breathe, not because the world has changed, but because you have. This version of you, forged in hardship, trained by resistance, refined by fire, is not someone you stumbled into. It's someone you chose to become. Choice, that's the hidden current beneath it all. Not the kind of choice others talk about casually, but the sacred kind, the moment when you stood alone, shaking, staring down despair, and you whispered, I will not quit, not today, not ever. That choice changed everything. It wasn't loud, it wasn't easy, but it was absolute, because that's how strength is built, in the moments no one sees, in the hours when you keep moving, when it would have been easier to collapse. You chose to rise before the sun. You chose to stay the course when everyone else turned back. You chose discipline when the world offered distraction. And now the pain bows to you, not because it has vanished, but because you've grown larger than it. This is the mark of the few, those who refused to live a life of reaction and instead became creators of intention. They don't beg for ease. They don't wait for permission. They command their destiny by mastering their inner world. This world, it rewards clarity. It bends for those who move with unwavering vision. And that vision, your vision, must be bigger than your pain. Because if pain can dominate your focus, then it will rob you of your potential. But if purpose becomes your North Star, if discipline becomes your backbone, and if belief becomes your daily oxygen, then no force on this earth can bury you. Let your vision be so clear that no storm can shake it, so detailed that it wakes you up in the middle of the night, so powerful that even in the darkness you feel it pulsing like a second heartbeat. And when the world doubts you, don't argue, work, build, execute in silence, and let the results echo what your voice never needed to say. The people you admire, Edison, who failed 10,000 times, Lincoln, who lost more elections than he won before becoming a giant, Disney, fired for lacking imagination, they weren't lucky, they were relentless. They turned pain into bricks, they stacked those bricks into staircases, and they climbed. You must do the same. Every no you've heard, build with it. Every door that slammed, use it as your foundation. Every moment of self-doubt, let it become the hammer you swing against your limitations. You don't need a perfect background. You don't need elite connections. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need one thing, you. Fully committed, fully focused, fully all in. Because once you go all in on your evolution, the universe responds in kind. Opportunities bend toward you. People shift around you. Doors once sealed begin to unlock. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And the world always mirrors the mind that leads it. So, choose now, not tomorrow, not when it's easier, to lead yourself. No matter the weight, no matter the resistance, no matter the voice in your head that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" You answer with every step forward, with every moment of quiet discipline, with every sacrifice no one sees, with every hour you spend building the life they'll later call impossible. Let them doubt, let them sleep, let them watch from a distance, because when the storm clears, when the fire fades, when the mountain is climbed and the echoes fall silent, you'll still be there, unshaken, unmoved, unbreakable, because the pain did not destroy you, it revealed you, and that was always the point. Every scar you carry tells a story, not of defeat, but of survival, not of surrender, but of unyielding courage. Pain has a language, and if you learn to listen, it speaks truths that no comfort ever could. It tells you where your boundaries lie and where they must be broken. It teaches you that the walls you once feared are the very gateways to your freedom. Take a moment and reflect on the lives of those who refused to be defined by their struggles. Thomas Edison, after thousands of failed attempts, did not say, "I have failed." He said, "I have discovered thousands of ways that won't work." That mindset, this refusal to be crushed by pain, is your blueprint. Your suffering is not a punishment, but a process. It is the crucible in which your character is forged. Pain exposes what lies beneath, the raw, unpolished truth about your spirit, and it is here, in this rawness, that transformation begins. You must embrace suffering not as an enemy, but as a catalyst. Pain is the soil. Your will is the seed. Without hardship, there is no growth. Without struggle, no triumph. But growth demands something more than endurance. It demands mastery. Mastery over your thoughts. Mastery over your emotions. Mastery over your actions. Napoleon Hill taught that your mind is like a garden. If you allow weeds of doubt, fear, and resentment to grow, they will choke out every seed of greatness. You must cultivate your mind with positive, empowering beliefs and guard it vigilantly against negativity. Imagine your mind as a fortress. The pain and suffering outside are storms raging at the gates. Will you let them breach your walls, or will you stand firm, unwavering, resolute? This mental fortitude doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from facing it, embracing it, and choosing to rise anyway. Belief is your weapon, not blind faith, but a deep, reasoned conviction rooted in your purpose. It's the belief that you are capable of more than your past, stronger than your setbacks, and destined for a greatness that pain alone cannot steal. This belief fuels clarity, the crystal clear vision of what you want to create from the ashes of your trials. Your vision is the lighthouse guiding you through the darkest nights. It cuts through confusion, indecision, and fear, illuminating the path forward. Purpose is the engine that drives your relentless pursuit. Without it, discipline withers. Without it, action loses meaning. Discipline is your daily commitment, the sacred promise to yourself that no matter how painful the journey, you will not turn back. It is the repeated choice to show up, to push through exhaustion, to fight through despair. Discipline turns dreams into habits, and habits into results. But discipline is not mindless toil. It is focused, deliberate action fueled by purpose. Every step you take, every decision you make must align with your vision. This is how you transform suffering into strength. Through gratitude, you find your anchor. In the eye of the storm, gratitude is your calm center. It shifts your focus from loss to lessons, from wounds to wisdom. Gratitude rewires your brain to see opportunity in adversity, gifts in disguise, and hope beyond hardship. Resilience grows from this soil of gratitude. That is the capacity to bounce back stronger, to rise with renewed vigor after every fall. Resilience is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every challenge you face is a chance to build it. Every setback, a test of your commitment. Every failure, a lesson waiting to be learned. Napoleon Hill studied the greats, the titans of industry, the pioneers, the visionaries, and found that their secret was not absence of failure, but their mastery of it. They used pain as their forge. They used suffering as their fuel. Now it's your turn. The power to turn pain into power lies within you. It is not given. It is claimed. It is not easy. It is earned. It demands courage when fear screams, faith when doubt whispers, and action when paralysis beckons. But when you claim it, when you choose it, nothing can stop you. You become unstoppable. You become unbreakable. You become a force of nature. This is your destiny. Look closely at every story of triumph, and you'll see a thread of relentless persistence woven through the darkest chapters. Abraham Lincoln, battered by personal loss, political defeat, and countless setbacks, never allowed despair to become his master. Instead, he let it forge his resolve. Pain refined his purpose. Suffering sharpened his vision. In his darkest hours, he stood taller than ever before, not because the storms ceased, but because he learned to dance in the rain. This is the essence of transformation. Not avoiding the fire, but stepping into it willingly, knowing it will temper your spirit into something unbreakable. But this process requires more than courage. It demands surrender. Not surrender to pain or suffering, but surrender to the truth that growth is born in struggle. Resistance to this truth only prolongs suffering. Acceptance, paradoxically, frees you. When you accept pain as a teacher, you stop fighting against the current and start learning to swim with it. This acceptance does not mean weakness. It means clarity. It means seeing suffering as a signal, a message from the universe urging you to evolve, adapt, and become more than you were yesterday. With clarity comes vision. Vision is more than just a goal. It is the magnetic force that pulls you through adversity. It's what Henry Ford had when everyone told him the automobile was a foolish dream. It's what Walt Disney held on to when bankruptcy loomed and failure seemed inevitable. Vision births resilience. Resilience is not just about bouncing back. It's about moving forward with more wisdom, more strength, and more fire than before. It's the deep knowing that your current pain is temporary, but the strength you build from it is eternal. Resilience is born in moments of doubt, when you look at the wreckage of your hopes and choose to build again. Napoleon Hill said, "Most great people have achieved their greatest success just one step beyond their greatest failure." Understand this. Failure, pain, and suffering are not your enemies. They are signposts on the road to mastery. Your role is to follow them, learn from them, and rise above them. The mind is your battleground. Here, the war between weakness and strength is fought and won. Your thoughts are the generals commanding your actions. If you feed your mind with fear, doubt, and self-pity, these generals will lead you to defeat. But if you cultivate faith, determination, and gratitude, your generals will lead you to victory. Train your mind like a warrior trained for battle, relentlessly, with purpose and discipline. Build habits that reinforce your power, daily rituals of positive thinking, visualization, and purposeful action. Discipline is the bridge between pain and power. It is the mechanism that turns intention into reality. Without discipline, the lessons of pain slip through your fingers like water. With discipline, pain becomes your ally, a source of energy, focus, and unstoppable momentum. Napoleon Hill understood this deeply. He said, "Self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you don't control what you think, you can't control what you do." Action is the proof of belief. It is the language of the soul declaring, "I refuse to be defeated." Every step you take toward your goals, no matter how small, chips away at the fortress of suffering. Every choice you make to keep going when the world says stop is a victory carved out of pain. Gratitude ties all this together. It is the alchemy that turns hardship into blessing. When you practice gratitude, you reprogram your brain to see abundance instead of scarcity, lessons instead of losses. This shifts your entire being from victim to victor, from broken to whole. Gratitude creates a fertile ground where resilience and clarity flourish. It opens your eyes to the hidden gifts within your pain. It reminds you that every dark night births a dawn. Every tear nourishes the soil of your strength. Adaptability is the final piece, the ability to bend without breaking, to change course when necessary, without losing sight of your vision. Thomas Edison's journey to inventing the light bulb was not a straight path. It was filled with detours, failures, and recalibrations, but his adaptability, his refusal to be rigid in the face of failure, propelled him to success. You must be like water, fluid, responsive yet unstoppable. The pain you endure is not a straight line. It twists, turns, and tests your limits. Adaptability lets you navigate this terrain with grace and power. It is your secret weapon in turning suffering into strength. The journey from pain to power is not for the faint of heart. It demands everything from you: your courage, your faith, your discipline, your clarity, your gratitude, and your resilience. But the prize is beyond measure. A life not controlled by fear, but ruled by purpose. A spirit not broken by suffering, but forged into brilliance. You are not your pain. You are the force that rises from it. You are the architect of your destiny, the master of your fate. And when you claim this truth, nothing, not hardship, not failure, not suffering, can stop you.